What up, though? It's your boy Dino with Everybody Loves a Comeback. Sitting here with Chad. Gonna get this little interview in. Have you check up his life story, how he got sober. He's another one of my sober brothers that I met in Orange County, the barbershop with old Johnny Blades. Sitting, a lot of stories been shared in those chairs, and actually it was your idea to do the interview down at the barbershop, but they're open 7 days a week and we'd have to do it after hours, and everybody's got a crazy schedule, so this is us coming to you from the couch instead. So good old Huntington Beach. But my boy Chad's from Alabama.
Yes, sir.
California transplant. He's local now. We accepted him. He's in the crew. We jumped him in. But Chad's got a crazy story, and I'll quit talking and let him share it. You good, brother?
All right.
So tell us where you're from and how you what got you into the life of sobriety, and do the whole story.
Okay.
Start from the beginning.
So my dad was military, so I'm not really from anywhere. My family's from Birmingham, Alabama. I was actually born in Columbus, Mississippi, which is a little bitty Air Force town in Mississippi. We moved to London, England. We were there for like 4 years. We were in South Carolina for a few years. We were in Arkansas for a few years. And then we ended up back home in Alabama when my dad got out. And so like growing up, my parents put me in sports year round. That was like my after school daycare as a kid. I played sports year round. If there was a sport to be played, I was playing it. And then my dad was military, like, it was expected that I would perform well at whatever sport I was playing, and I did for the most part. So we settled. I'm used to moving every 3 or 4 years. We would move to a new state, a new city, and I would make new friends. And about the time me and those friends got close, we would move. So, anyways, we get to Alabama, and I'm like 7th or 8th grade, starting 8th grade, I think, when we moved to Alabama. And like for the first time in my life, there's going to be no more moving. So I get to school, and I want to fit in, and there's kids like smoking in the bathroom and whatever. So like I kind of, being the new kid and kind of like the outsider, I kind of gravitated towards that crowd. And my first experience with getting high, me and a couple friends decided that we were gonna buy some weed, and so I took the lead on that situation. We all put our money together, and I started asking around if anybody could get us some weed. And eventually there was a kid at school that was like, "Yeah, I can get you some weed. You give me your money, and I'll go home and get the weed, and then I'll bring you the weed back to school tomorrow," which is highly suspect, but it actually worked out, right? Gave them the money, they came back with the weed, they gave it to us. All my friends are like, "Is it good weed? Is it the right amount?" Like all these things. I've never seen weed before in my life, but
of course you're gonna bullshit them.
Yeah, so I immediately grabbed the sack, and I'm like, "Let me see this," and I look at it, I'm like, "Yeah, this is the right size, it's good stuff."
You being the professional that you are.
Right, absolutely. And it was shitty weed. It was probably a skimp sack. It was probably more seeds than it was anything.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I made like we had just hit the lotto. And so the plan was for that Friday night, we were going to have my mom drop us off at the local movie theater. And we were going to smoke some weed at the movie theater while we were supposed to be watching the movie. And then we would all go back to my house and kick it. But that presented us with a problem. None of us had a pipe. None of us knew had ever smoked weed before. None of us knew how to roll a joint. So I started asking around at school, does anybody know how to roll a joint? And one guy volunteered and said, I know how to roll a joint. All you gotta do is just give me your weed. I'll take it home. I'll roll it for you, and I'll bring you your weed back to school tomorrow. So it went so well the last time with getting the sack that I decided this is a good idea. We'll do this again. So I give the guy the sack, and next day we're at school, and I'm sitting in second period, and I'll never forget, it was English class, and in walks the principal with a police officer, and they asked me to come to the principal's office, and they make me bring all my books and belongings I had with me in class with me to the principal's office. I'm not allowed to stop at my locker. I'm not allowed to go to the restroom. The principal's in front of me, the cop's behind me. As we make it into the office and we're walking down the hallway through the row of offices in the principal's office area, I see in each office every single one of the people involved in this.
Yeah, you already know.
Yeah, so I know what time it is at this point, and so my first experience getting high, not only did I get some shitty weed in a short sack, but I didn't even actually get to get high.
Yeah.
Got kicked out of school, and looking back, that should have been like an eye opener about hey, this is how your career as a drug addict, alcoholic is gonna go. But I just thought it was just a tough break, and so I didn't learn my lesson. Fast forward, I didn't really touch drugs or alcohol really anymore. That at that time, I think I was 13 or something like that.
That's when you started smoking weed?
Well, I didn't touch it again until I was 16, the day before my 16th birthday.
That's the next time you smoked weed?
Yeah.
Did you get high the first time you smoked weed?
So, I take that back. So, I got kicked out of school, right? I get kicked out of school, and I guess in California, you guys call it continuation school.
Yeah.
I get sent to this school for bad kids, and I have to do, I think it's 3 months there. Mm-hmm. I do the time there. The night, my last day of school, I come back, I go up to the rec center across the street from the high school to hang out, play basketball or whatever, and a kid's there. He's like, I got some weed at my house, you want to smoke? And knowing I'm supposed to go back to school tomorrow, I just got in trouble for this. Are they going to drug test me? What's going to happen? I don't know, but I got fucked last time I tried to smoke weed. I should definitely, this seems a lot safer. So I went with the kid to his house. We got the weed, we went into the fucking woods, and we smoked these 2 joints, and I remember I hit it, and it was just I remember asking him, dude, yo, I don't fucking feel anything, and he was like, just gotta keep hitting it, man. I'm looking at him, and he's all fucking stoned, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just this is fucking lame. Mm-hmm. So after that time, I don't smoke weed or do anything until I turn 16, and me and some friends get together some money. We get a sack. We go over to my buddy's house to smoke. His parents were out of town, and we got this homemade bong. I don't know what it's this big plastic pipe. It's this fucking tall, and it's got a tube coming off. Took 3 people to hit this thing.
Mm-hmm. Looked like a science
experiment. Yeah, just so. But we hit it. I remember I hit it. I was sitting on his bed in the basement, and I hit it. And when I blew out, I just had this feeling come over my body. I just started laughing. I kind of felt like I was almost floating. I don't feel like I was high. Mm-hmm. And I really like that feeling, and I like that feeling so much that I wanted to feel that feeling every day, and not just every day, but as long as I was awake, I felt like I should feel like that. Yeah. So the next morning we smoke all night long. Next morning we're all leaving, and everybody's going home and gonna be like good kids now, little white kids from the suburb, and I'm gonna go like cut grass or whatever the fuck they do, and I
Paper
remember,
route.
yeah, paper routes, like whatever, and I remember looking at my homeboys, and I'm like, yo, like, we got a problem, and they're like, what's up? I'm like, there's no more weed, and like two of the guys were like, yeah, we're going, you know, I can't smoke, I gotta go to my parents, and like all, you know, whatever. And my other homeboy is like, I know a guy. And I'm like,
I got a guy.
yeah, he's like, I got a guy. And I'm like, all right, well, we need to go see him. And that started like the cycle until I got sober at 32, unless I was like locked up away somewhere where I physically could not get my hands on drugs. I was, from that day forward until at the age of 16 until I was 32, like I was under the influence of some substance every day. You know, and it progressed. You know, it started off as just weed, and then I'm taking pills and stuff, and I was one of the first kids in school to get a fake ID. You know, back then we had like paper ID cards that they would print out for you before you would get your like hard one in the mail.
Yeah.
And those were real easy to like doctor up, and so like I did that, and that was kind of like my in to like the parties and whatever. Like I would get paid for my little job on Fridays, and I would go to the hood in Birmingham and just spend my whole paycheck on whatever drugs the guy had. I didn't really care.
How old were you at this time?
16, like.
And you were already getting into the hard shit?
Yeah, well, so I lived in the like at the time what was like a upper middle class white suburb of Birmingham, Alabama, and like the kids at school, like their parents were, I guess, more well off than mine. Like I don't know, it's just how it was for me as a kid. But like a lot of the kids at my school lived in the big nice subdivision down the street from me, and like mine was like the little like ghetto houses before you get to the nice houses, you know. I didn't know it was ghetto at the time. That was just my house, but like, so like those kids, like on Friday night, hey mom, we're going out. Can I have some money? And mom and dad hand them $100 or whatever for them to go out for the night. You know, in my house it wasn't like that. You know, so I was working at 15, 16 years old, and I, like I said, I wanted to feel that feeling whenever I was awake, and I knew I couldn't make enough money at my part-time job to keep that up, even at that early on in my drug career. I realized that, so I figured out that drugs were a lot cheaper in the hood, and so I would go buy. They're also cheaper if you buy more of them. That's a fun fact, kids. So I would take my paycheck on Friday, and I would have, you know, $300, $400, $500, and I would go down there to my guy Lewis. Cool as fuck. His mom drove a school bus for the school system.
Still remember his name.
Yeah, I went back home like a month ago, and I drove by his house
just to check up,
just to make sure old Lewis is good. You know, I didn't stop or anything, but. Anyways, so, and he would be like, what you want? And I would just get a little bit of everything, some weed, some pills, some coke, whatever. And then I would go back to the suburbs, and I would hit the parties, and I would show up, and everybody wants to have a good time, and they knew Chad was here, and if you want something, like, let's talk to Chad, he can get it. And so with that, you know, I didn't understand like quantities. I mean, I understood quantities for you, but I didn't understand quantities for me. You know what I mean? And because it was just like whenever I wanted to do something, I would just do it. Yeah. And you know, I had just like the people that I was running around with, that like I hung out with on a regular basis. Like I had guys that were. This is when, like in the early 2000s, when ecstasy got real big, and I was friends with guys that would drive down to Miami once a month and like come back with like carloads full of ecstasy pills, and like that shit was just handed out like it was fucking Skittles.
Yeah.
You know, and the people that I partied with, like when we partied, like I noticed like my group that I ran with versus the people at the parties, like when we partied, like it was just this constant flow of drugs and alcohol that accelerated on like Thursday night, because Thursday was like the pre-weekend, so like we had to start then. Other people, like they would do drugs or they would drink on like Friday or Saturday night and they would get like buzzed or whatever, and then if they threw up, they were done for the night.
Yeah.
You know, I was taught when I was partying, like if you throw up, you're just making room for more, and if you feel sick, you should go ahead and make yourself throw up so you can get it over with and keep partying.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, like this, like I had awakened this fucking demon, and I didn't even know it, you know, and I'm just, as the time is going on, like everything is just increasing, you know.
What was your drug of choice back then? Like when you would go pick up in the hood, like what was your favorite thing to pick up? Like what were you looking for mostly?
So my personal thing at the time was methadone pills.
Yeah. That's what made you feel the best?
Yeah, like from the onset, like for me it was opiates.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
take
you were
the
a
typical
downer guy.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be like all over the place. Like I would do coke and lock myself in a bedroom for the weekend playing fucking Grand Theft Auto, and I just wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
Like I got extremely antisocial on cocaine. But like opiates like made me feel good. They made me feel warm and tingly, and you know, I liked them a lot. Xanaxes were always good to pair with opiates in my experience.
I feel like when you do opiates at first, like out of the gate, like
it does pump you up.
It pumps you up. It gives you energy. It like you want to talk, you want to clean, you want to you know, do whatever you're doing at that moment. You want to do it to the best of your ability. You know, having sex, like anything like that. But as it gradually goes on, it's like all of that shit leaves, and then it just becomes about maintaining, you know, just you don't want to do shit, you get lazy, you're like, shit, I got to the point where I didn't even want to shower, dude. Like, I'd go 5-6 days without shower. That's when I was like strung out. Didn't want to have sex, had no sex drive, like just the complete opposite of what it was when I started.
And that's the thing, like it turns on you really quick.
That's when I feel like you start to know that there's a problem.
Because it's like it's when shit gets to that point where, you know, your hygiene and your daily living activities or whatever they want to call it, you know, when that shit starts to suffer, like you see that, you know, and then at that point you're like, you don't want to acknowledge what's going on, because you know now to stop this thing, it's not going to be comfortable.
Yeah, you gotta stop the cycle.
So make it through high school. I'm partying. Parents want me to go to college. I got a scholarship to college. I go not because I really want to go to college, or, you know, I have no idea what I want to fucking do with my life. But they said you need to go, and so I went and got kicked out of college within like 2 semesters. I passed my my English classes. I passed, and the only reason I passed my English classes is because where I was living, my next door neighbor was a couple, and they were grad students. One was working on like a cure for cancer, and the other was working on like fucking Alzheimer's or some shit. And so they're like scientists, and I'm like, they like smoke weed and shit too, you know. So we're sitting outside smoking one day. I'm like, yo, I got these fucking English papers, and the chick's like, I'll write them for you. if you want to pay me. So, like, I pay her like $40 to write my papers, and she's like, what do you want? And I'm like, just give me like a B or a C paper.
Yeah.
This is Oscar.
Oscar. What's up, man?
What's up,
How are you?
Good. I'm Will.
I'm Dean.
That's it.
Nice to meet you, man.
Oscar? Come on.
Oscar?
Go on.
Stop it at